Yeah. Yes, so then Russian is the first channel, right? Yeah. And then English is the second channel. So the first channel is Russian and channel 2 is English.
Second channel is English.
I hope that so then the most important and difficult part is the beginning of the session because we need just to figure out these technical complexities. So we need to give the initiative to the younger generation. I'm positive that's exactly what we're here for. Okay, shall we begin? Yeah. Okay. Good morning. So that's a good name. It's which Russia and the world, the younger generation responding to global challenges. Very nice thing. I think that the first global challenge that our meeting tried to answer is that many people they stopped communicating like they used to. So maybe it only is related to our generation. Maybe just you've got used to communicating with each other differently. So through Zoom, through internet, on the web. And I would like to get your thought, because for the people of my generation, it was a great challenge just to move into a new realm of communications, because we now cannot communicate the way we did before. And was it difficult for you to move into a different mode of communication, or just you went into it seamlessly, easily, without any challenge? Because everyone is just sitting, typing on their cell phones and communicating with each other, and then the whole pandemic for the young people have not created any problems. Right? And let's talk about that. And for the younger generation, I think that you've got something to say. I'm sure. Maybe you even come out with some proposals, suggestions. And what we have here is the younger generation response to global challenges. So let's try to start with this. So what are the global challenges? So what they are? Do you think that the pandemic is a global challenge for yourselves, or it's just only for the older generation, and you think that but for you everything is fine, just forget the pandemic? Besides the fact that you all may get sick one day. Okay, let's discuss it. Who will start? Who wants to be the first to? So may I? It's always difficult. So let's. Okay, so there's a person who wants to start. Okay, yes, I am ready. And this is so he is Alexander, who came to Moscow, and they developed a program for this event, and so that's why you deserve some time. My name is Alexander Malikov. I'm 16. I'm from Voronezh. I am on business campus. We went to Moscow. We enjoyed it immensely, and now we came to this event. And concerning the global challenges, it is true that after the post-pandemic and during the pandemic, so there were problems with education, remote education. What the problem was for me, and I stay home, and I'm used to work in a team because I want people to be sitting next to me on my left, on my right, when they go to school, and then I want to be surrounded by my friends. So I have this atmosphere. So when everyone is doing his or her job, and then you're not tempted to go and do something else, right? And but now. So during the remote learning. So we have to do homework and do some tasks, self-development, and getting education by yourself independently, and that requires a lot of effort and willpower, because you have to keep repeating to yourself. You have to go and do your job. You do your learning, and not just go for a walk and enjoy yourself and do nothing. So control and assertiveness and willpower. And so when you do the self-development, it's a big challenge. You have to force yourself to do that. And the pandemic allowed me just to become better at it. And I'm sure it will help. It will help me in my future life, because this is something that we need to concentrate on for myself and for my friends. You know, there is this. So there's someone saying that whatever doesn't break us makes us stronger, and maybe this is kind of related to this topic. What doesn't break us makes us stronger, and yeah, that's true. That helped a lot, and specifically on this issue, I think that's a big strength for our generation. Those who managed, those who handled it right. Because certainly you can do this self-training, self-education, but not everyone during the pandemic managed to do that. So do other people do you feel the same way, or you think differently?
Okay. Just take it over, because it's fair that I'm next to the gentleman who just spoke. My name is Khonaya from Southern Africa, and I'm a graduate of telecommunications engineering. And I've loved his opening speech, and also when the gentleman was saying what doesn't break us make us stronger. So it's really fair to say that as young people, we have been really affected by COVID-19, but as he has said, it may not look like it has negative impact on us. Why? Because young people, we are always on our gadgets, laptops, phones, and tablets. So what I wanted to say is that let us use the crisis that we are currently in as an advantage or an opportunity. Because us as young people, we're always on our gadgets. When you are on your phones, look at the right things, like do tutorials on YouTube, look at opportunities online, because most of the time we have these gadgets that are given to us as an opportunity, but we don't use them for the right thing. We miss opportunities, but they are just on our gadgets. Information is there, but us as young people, we're always looking forward to things like, okay, I'm not saying TikTok is wrong, but as you do TikTok and Facebook and Instagram, remember that there are also scholarships, opportunities that you can get on these gadgets. So let us take the advantage of the fact that now the world has moved into a digital kind of world. This is where opportunities are shared. This is where everything will be being done. So let us shift our attention from much of entertainment to much of information, which is knowledgeable information that can develop us as young people. Thank you.
That's absolutely true. And when I was preparing for this discussion, I found this term, which is a popular term that is used by many in English, is VUCA. VUCA stands for volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity is ambiguity. And this term, this acronym, it determines, it means, it embodies this COVID time. It's gonna epitomizes this time. And it means that for the young generation, they need to understand that there is nothing stable. Everything is in flux. Everything changes, and this is the only conclusion we can make. And at the end of the year, so that we can come to this conclusion. When the war quarantined, when I had to stay at home, everything is, as I was saying, is nothing endures but change, and we have to admit this change, resigned to it. We can't control it. And our task will be to adapt to it. And the pandemic, COVID-19, it gave us this chance to learn from our own mistakes, to survive in this difficult world. Yes, to survive. This sounds tough. Yes, in this tough world, this sounds very kind of. But this is true. It's not pathetic. It's true. Because the young people, so all of us here, we need to survive, to be able to survive, and to acquire this new adaptive traits in our character. This is very important in my view. Competition is tough. The pandemic is there, and so I think that survive is the right word I chose. Okay, and so let me apply it to our generation. May I say a couple of words as well? Okay? Yeah, okay, good. I wanted to say that there's a song, a popular Russian singer, Makarevich, and so there is a line there, so that we should not yield to the world that's changing all the time, because one day the world will yield to us and not the other way around. And so that's why we need to live and not survive. Even in the most difficult circumstances, we need to live and not survive. And because once you start surviving, we'll lose the beauty of the world. And it does not mean that we need just to tread openly and try to break the walls. Yeah, and but we need to understand it's not only the world that changes us, but it's us, the young, that change the world as well. I'm sorry for this interjection.
One thing you said at the start, that do you find this pandemic a global challenge? It caught my attention. The pandemic has affected us all, not just high school students, middle school students, primary students, as well as students in universities. Obviously, it's been very hard on all of us trying to learn on our own. Being independent is something very difficult when you're used to having a teacher in a classroom with your friends, enjoying your time, having people to talk to, having longer breaks. Everything has changed. So when you're just alone, you have to be motivated. Where do you get this motivation from if you're alone? You're learning by yourself. You have to do everything. You have to stay organized. And then the motivation just goes all the way down. And then you start feeling like you don't want to do anything. You don't feel motivated to work, which affects us as well mentally. So I find that one thing that you said, do you find this pandemic as a global challenge? Personally, I feel like it definitely can be one, because it's affected over almost all countries in the world. Everyone has been affected in this pandemic. So that's one thing I wanted to say when you asked, do you find this pandemic a global challenge? Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Yes, right. Every challenge, this is true. When it's overcome, it's a great pleasure. Self-fulfillment. And this forum didn't take place last year, right? Which, as we remember, and then when people met, many people, so business people, everyone is here. So, but the main, so people's eyes are bright. It's not even that people were trying to decide their businesses, make decisions, whatever. But they were so happy just to meet each other, to look each other in the eye, and that's what the main happiness is. Human communications. It's not even so much business, but human communication. And this is exactly what stays. It's human talk, human communication stays for life and stays until your dying day. And people are happy here just to meet each other, not even for business purposes. But besides that, we need just to make this conversation interesting. And so we need to understand that the pandemic is a challenge, which is right, but it's a unique advantage to become stronger, to be more responsible. But besides, in the world, there are many other challenges, right? Besides COVID-19, and who can identify or name? So those who are here sitting. So what other challenges? What are the three main challenges that we see, and can be quickly identified? Why do you think these three challenges that I want to identify are the most important besides the pandemic?
The three most important challenges I feel like we've overcome or tackled during COVID-19 began with communication. Families were separated, people weren't able to communicate with each other. We had to find different alternatives to things we find normal every day. Second challenge I think we encountered was critical thinking. Us as humans, we usually are met with situations where we're able to use our brains to get out of them and become better. However, when everyone's stuck at home doing nothing all day, I feel that we aren't able to learn and grow as people, especially in the field of critical thinking. And the third skill that I believe we have, the third goal challenge I believe that we have encountered throughout this pandemic had to be education, because education is a critical point and aspect of life, and taking a completely new format that has never been tried or developed before, that is just a whole new experience, and we had to experience that and transition from a full physical education to an online one in a matter of few weeks, which is a very difficult task, which I think back home in Qatar we were able to complete successfully.
Yes, right. So then we need just to keep that. So gender rules should be maintained. A lady and a man. A lady and a man. I think that both the adults and the children, they face the same challenge, because as the technologies develop, so we need to develop in line together with technology. I think that our generation needs to be comprehensive in our nature, because we need to be well developed in all areas. Both educational and physical education is important at the same time, and the adults need to learn from our children, because to be comprehensive. So whatever task they try to address, they should be able to address it successfully. So the children teach the adults.
Adding to what said, I believe that for me personally, I experienced a lot of the older generation saying, "Oh, you didn't experience the pandemic as hard as we did. We had businesses cut off and like things of that sort." But I think what a lot of people don't understand is that the education is the most important part of the younger generation, because essentially the younger generation are going to be the leaders of the future. So our education is very, very important and vital to society as a whole, because if we're not able to get our education well, and which is something that the pandemic has really halted, so we really won't be the good leaders of tomorrow. So we really need to try our hardest to find solutions for education. And adding to what Abdullah said, I believe that another thing that the pandemic has halted would be social skills and communication, because we aren't really able to communicate with people face to face as much anymore. Everything is done digitally, which isn't the same as talking to someone in person, being able to negotiate, being able to develop new skills, and as well as social skills, which is essentially based on being able to socialize with people, making friends, developing new relationships, and all of these factors have been changed by the pandemic, and essentially we need to find the solutions for these and really try to overcome them as hard as we can. Thank you.
May I ask, I really just want Thank you very much for your input. It's just wonderful. I'm asking questions because I have nothing written on my pad, but because I'm just interested in your answers. Yesterday, so there was a roundtable discussion. We spoke about the future and the big challenges: science, society, the interaction between the two. And so then a Qatar representative, by the way, said, so she thought that one of the most important challenges is to learn to listen to our children. I agree with that. And so, because it's your future. Learn to listen to your kids. Exactly. And so certainly it's luckily it's your future, and unfortunately it's not mine anymore. But you need to form this future. But to form it, to shape it, you need to prepare. So what are the challenges that you need to prepare for? So education is great. It's obvious, right? But it's not an instrument. But because education is an instrument for what? So what are the real serious challenges that you see down the road, and new opportunities that will come along, that will become obvious, that will mature in 5-10 years from now? What are they? And maybe someone has not spoken yet. Maybe who else would like to? Everyone spoke. Okay, everyone had his say. Okay, let's ask someone from the audience, or the audience will think that they are kind of out of this process. So give the mic to someone who wants from the audience. Yes, there is a mic. Mic is coming. Okay, that's the two persons. Okay. Good morning. I represent the Tomsk region, and I asked this question earlier, and I wanted to ask our foreign guests your view at this question, this self-education. What's your take on it, our dear foreign friends? So it's a very sensitive question, self-education. So what are the main challenges related to that? Because I can speak only on behalf of my country, but if we take the situation in general, so self-education, it looks like it's a technology which has been around everywhere, and it's a kind of it's kind of a freelance attitude. So then freedom of action in your interests. And the system of education of Russia provides that you have to follow a certain plan, and you cannot deviate from it, because this is standard classical Russian education. You cannot just move left or right. And so this approach is a specific task of today's world, which requires we need a fundamental solution to that. So there are strengths and weaknesses of this system. So this is kind of foundation on which self-education is built upon. But what's on the top of this foundation? Maybe it's a little bit too much of it. How to reconstruct, how to make it more flexible, how to move from the planned education standards to self-education.
I will pass the floor to you now, but May first. I will keep quiet then after that. So we said that education and self-education, but can you tell me briefly, can you see the goals which are worth studying? Specific goals, targets that require education, getting basic education, fundamental. What is the goal that you will have when you grow up? What's your purpose? Yes, I can answer. I can see my goal to be successful, to get success by self-education. That's a short answer. Be successful. That's another answer. There's a lady. Give her the mic. We need to ensure gender equality. My name is Catherine. I'm from Moscow. So the question was, what is the problem that I can see in 15 years' time. I cannot say in 15, but very soon in future, as people said, the pandemic is a global problem and impacted education. It hit education so much because we switched to online mode, and there are people that, like myself, it is very difficult to self-organize for myself. I need someone to tell me. I need the teamwork, group work with think-alike people, with live communication through online conferences, platforms. It is difficult to do. And to achieve some results in the online program, I spent much more time than I usually spend at school. I believe it's a huge problem because there are many people like that who find it hard to self-organize in online mode. Now, online version is going to be used. But without live communication, I believe education is impossible because it's a source of communication and it gives you many opportunities and you can prove yourself. Thank you. Yes. What should we do? What is it? Invent some medication, develop new vaccine. What is the remedy for that? What's the way? You know? So it's a proper approach when you try to do good against evil. So we want to arrange everything in a nice way, but we need to do something specific for that. And probably answering those questions, including mine, maybe we can say a few words about it. So let us start with the first panelist. I wanted to answer to the young person. I do not agree with you that the Russian education somehow only follows the plan and does not give you flexibility or personal touch. It is absolutely wrong. I'm saying as a person who used to study overseas and in Russia, I believe it's just the opposite. The Russian education actually adjusts for the child, for the student, and allows every graduate, every school child, a wide range of knowledge, which enables you to later feel confident in absolutely any area or domain of life. I believe it is very important. And that's exactly what Russian education was famous for and was different from others. So lack of individual approach is a wrong thing. It's just the opposite. You can use your basis. We have different modules. You can get individual fine-tuning in Russian schools, in profile classes, profiling of the classes. And the Russian education system is exactly quite flexible and considers individual properties of every person and allows you to develop in the area of your interest.
And that's something you said that I found interesting. What is the solution? What is the vaccine? What is the remedy that we are able to get to allow us to go through this pandemic? I think it isn't something we are able to get into ourselves or ejected, etc. I think it is just basic determination, hard work, etc. With self-education, it is a different standpoint because it is only your willpower that can get you through whatever the challenges you want to put yourself through. Back home in Qatar and in Qatar Foundation, we have multiple programs where we are able to discuss whatever any of our passions, etc. Anything we wish to take in the future, we are able to perform them and learn about them at home. And we also touch all the bases with the self-education. Anything that is available online or that are able to be taught in schools are available. And the remedy for that and something that can get us through this is basic self-determination and willpower.
Okay, thank you.
Огромное
Okay, thank you. I'm very happy and really getting excited with how the conversation and the dialogue is really moving from the participants to the audience. Our moderator has said, I wanted to contribute to his question to say that what is the way forward in terms of us finding vaccines and with the other upcoming global challenges. I would say that if there's anything that COVID-19 or rather the pandemic has really taught us is being innovative. People are now being innovative in terms of trying to solve this pandemic. So it is also among us as young people to try to be innovative in terms of how can we handle the situation that we find ourselves in. He spoke about how it brought depression, loneliness, because we're used to teamwork and being with others and discussing these things in school. But how do we get to fit in the new normal? Because there are also future challenges that are going to come. So I think we also, as young people, should just say that, okay, you know what, it has happened and we are in it. It is our time. Let us take advantage and see how can we fit in and just live with the way the pandemic is going and let it not affect us. So he also spoke about it takes one's willingness for you to be able to perceive through the pandemic and do what you want. It's self-discipline. So it will also teach us how to be very self-disciplined, which is a very, very important issue on this one because it's a struggle to study online. Sometimes it's really difficult. And a lot of young people or students will be their marks will be going down because of not being used to online and being a bit lazy. So self-discipline, when he spoke about self-discipline, I got really interested and said, that is the word. We just need to be self-disciplined for us to go through this. Thank you.
I have a feeling that the people here are quite self-disciplined, otherwise they wouldn't be here, and perseverance and assertiveness. And more than that, when we were selecting the participants for the project and looking at their projects, when we looked at their projects and their achievements, in fact, we were very much surprised when we speak about innovation nature of generation. I don't know what else can be more innovative than that. So my question, you are preparing project, you think about something. I wonder what do you want to do in future? What profession? We were asking them. And has your options changed after the pandemic? Now, let me deviate slightly from the COVID topic and speak about the project in the education area and specific matters. So, just before the forum, our team and us presented our project for professional education in the regional center of Voronezh, and we managed to kick it off, to coordinate the kickoff, and in the fall we shall start it. And so we faced some problem on the way. The purpose was to create links between the youth and professionals in many areas like entrepreneurship, trade, and many others. And the kids will be given an opportunity to listen to the lectures and participate in practical excursion to the company. The company provided speakers and the kind of the guides, and so a problem arose. So does the state and the government have any mechanisms of incentives for the companies, private companies, so that they could be involved in a socially relevant projects? For instance, we have a project, social development in education. We have connection and contact with some companies, individuals who are ready to collaborate, help children, and support And we would like to reach out other companies, global, different companies. Is there any incentive, maybe some funds, grants, some assistance, benefits from the government? Yes, certainly. There are contracts, some interaction between education and corporations like Sberbank. I'm speaking about Russia and foreign companies, I guess. And we would like to know what are the mechanisms, how can they be used? How should the young generation reach those mechanisms? Probably ask for specific help. If you answer, and you didn't speak about profession. Yes, profession. I see myself in project management. I went to the Big Break contest last year, and I managed to find myself among the winners. And when I got into this, circle of interesting people who more or less decided about their choice, like entrepreneurship, management, and I liked it so much. I felt home, and immediately when I came back to my city, to my home city, I started doing something, developing, arranging campaigns. Very, very surprising that indeed there are lots of opportunities around that. We just need to knock, and that thou shall be open. The door will be open for you. I'll try to answer, but first I want to ask the audience a question. Could you tell us, please? So, you here, who of you here is going to stay and work in the education sphere? Who will continue working in education? May I specify, please? Like project activity, additional education. I mean, in general, someone will teach at school, someone in the university, additional education. Who wants to stay and teach? Who wants to stay in this area, in this domain? Why am I asking this question? Because we almost spent our half an hour, we were only talking about education. But do you have a feeling that we are approaching it in a very practical, kind of utilitarian manner? When we speak about the future, we're not speaking about the future we want to build, but we want to quickly get something from the present, and the future will take care of itself. We shall speak about the future for us all, but not for everyone. Do you understand what I mean? Look, we are here to think how the young generation can respond to global challenges. And the main question that we raise is, how are we studying? It means that you are not responding to the challenges. You want someone to teach you. And that someone will respond to the challenges. That's what you want. That's very important. It's not you, but you expect. So actually answering your question, in fact, today I came to St. Petersburg, half a day before, and I went visited a very interesting school, a technological engineering school. They have done a lot, and they told me that they are partners. And at school, it's a new school. They don't even yet have senior graders. Partners are several leading universities, technical universities, and several large companies. They come, arrange a day of the company, day of the university, tell the kids, and ask, why do they come? What's their reason? Very simple. They understand that looking people for themselves, people are the main asset today. Looking for people who will work in those companies and they search among the students or senior graders, it's too late. You should come and talk to the middle class school, maybe starting from the primary school, and tell what is our headache, what's our concern, what's our needs. And then the kids will start thinking. Probably it's something that they will like to do in life. Unfortunately, I have been studying this matter. It's only recently. Strange as it may be, I'm speaking about Moscow. More attention to schools, to school children. Foreign companies paid more attention to school children than Russian companies. No one paid them. No one supported them. No one motivated. They did it because they understood that most important is the future, in the long future, is people. People decide everything. Professions will change. Sectors will change, industries, and probably trained and oriented people, motivated people will be the factor of your success. And I can tell you that indeed the state is helping. Ministry of Education is doing a lot. Communications. You know that in Russia we have 2 quantoriums set up. It is not the basic, it's not part of school, it's additional education. And in partnership with companies, the state invests, but partners, large companies, bring their ideas, people bring their people, their employees, who tell the students what's going to happen in the future. I don't know how it happens in Qatar, but I know I visited the country. I can say I could see the great attention paid to the education, school education, even preschool education. And not only in Qatar, but we know that Qatar is a leader in education for the whole Africa, including the girls' education. It's an important sector, so that, well, sometimes girls are underestimated, but not in this. It's just wrong. The education should be arranged for them properly. So I have answered partially your question, right? But I shall repeat again. I believe that discussing the topic today, certainly we have very little time, but probably along with the tools of self-development, it would be interesting to hear from the main speakers or the room what are the goals, the missions. We mentioned pandemic, but we understand that COVID, actually, we're lucky. Probably it is one of the simplest and harmless epidemics. Well, in future we shall have worse. I can tell you as a professional, we should get ready. Maybe we don't know everything. There are problems that now professionals discuss, like climate change and environmental, so that the planet Earth, well, so that we lived in harmony with our planet. This is another, well, goal that we all have. Or how to make energy clean and safe, as all our communication cannot be done without energy and power. But this energy should not harm the environment. There are many goals, but I wanted to understand what are the goals that you see. So, who do you think should reply, the audience or the panel? I think they will just very briefly, just every one person, one sentence, without any story, long story. Cut the story short and, yeah, briefly, yes. Let us first give the floor a chance to say something, and then you will comment, because you are main speakers. So, my name is Anna Laur, and I think a very relevant problem is resource supply of our planet, because the resource is limited, and we cannot just tap new and new sources of energy, and we need to structure. We need to go on and find new resources. So, resource problem, exhausting resources.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Woody Mangel. I'm from Liberia. It is an honor to be here today discussing this very important topic. This is a very serious thing, and when I look at the general theme, Russia and the world and the young generation, I think that the speakers have done well by saying measuring education, self-discipline, entrepreneurship, and the moderator also, you mentioned we should not just survive, but live. I think the biggest challenge to your questions of how COVID have impacted us and the challenges faced by young people is just not that the world have changed and we have been impacted negatively, but the major worry there is the opportunity cut across. You will note that there are many people, young people, who don't have opportunity at all. And we speak of equality in all places, but there has not been equality in the human existence across the world. You look between the developed and the developing country and underdeveloped country, you see the wide gap there. We speak of the young generation, but I don't see any coherence to resolve this problem. So I think we have to be thinking practically how we can engulf everyone to be able to have this opportunity to take after us, especially when we're looking at the busy life necessities. There are people who has the opportunity of shelter, education sources. Education is not possible with all the resources, with all the right opportunity to be connected. Others have, but millions of young people in developing countries don't have. I will show you an example. There are children living in this world who don't have access to clean drinking water, just the water. Thousands of them. So we can see that the gap of opportunity to the next generation still need more. So my plea today is, as we leave on here, we should be able to outline that the world should be able to give young people the opportunity, regardless of their geographic locations or the community and family they are from. This is so important. If we will make this world a better place, we must be able to share across what we have with everybody. Thank you so much.
Спасибо.
Actually, the problem of resources, it's unfair, equal access to opportunities, both territorial, social, geographic, and this is extremely important. Okay, one more question and then we'll comment, right? Okay. So then there's this guy who is trying hard to get you ask him this question. My name is Aybaza Felix. I'm from Kabardino-Balkaria, and I finished the 11th grade. And when you were saying, so what kind of goal? This is our future, and if we don't make everything possible to improve our future, nothing will change. My goal is to finish my college, and so then certainly go and study in another country, and only after having learned how it works in Russia, how it works in another country, in other countries, then to come back and start working in my place where I was born. And if all people so will start to try just to take care of their motherland, of the place where they were born, and it would eventually knowing everything, learning everything, coming back and taking care of your country, of your nation, of your people, of your motherland, and think less about your well-being, then everyone will succeed. In order to understand. So certainly you need just to go a long way before you understand how world is made, so that to be more efficient, helping your own country. That's right, because now we have a great brain drain. Many people go abroad and don't come back. And this is not actually true, and it's only in the newspapers and in the media. But realistically, we don't have any brain drain actually. So we do have migration, international migration, and people going abroad, people coming back to Russia, and this is not what you can refer to as brain drain. It's not. Okay. One more question, and then it will go back to the panel. Good afternoon. Can you hear me well? Yes, good. Marina is my name. I'm 16, and I represent a junior competition named the Big Interim Project. Everyone knows that ecology is the order of the day, very important, high priority, and we understand that we need to educate the younger generation correctly, properly. I would like to ask our foreign guests how you in your countries, how do you do ecological education? What ecological education resources in your countries, and equality of opportunities, territorial, social, geographic. So how do ecology in your countries?
Especially now in our country, we have developing sectors in the private and public sectors which are teaching us new ways of sustainability, development of new resources, and etc. A part of my project is dabbling into the environmental sustainability, and in our communities at home, we are developing sustainable solutions to certain problems that can actually impact, like one of the solutions is in water and sanitation. With just a few gadgets inserted into public areas, we're able to save 70% of water that isn't used. So to the gentleman there, I'd like to say that is one solution. However, I feel like in the ecological sector, we are developing quickly and more rapidly due to the growing concerns in the United Nations and even at home locally. So it's a big issue at home and globally, which is why I think it should be talked upon more, especially during this time.
And then the resource spoke about resources and availability of resources. I wanted to talk about regions. I think it's a big challenge in Russia, in Qatar, because let me rephrase it. The young people, they're not living abroad, but they are living from the regions to Moscow into St. Petersburg. And that's why in the regions, there are not enough young people in the regions, because the regions are not very successful, and that is why all the young people are trying to go to the capital, which is Moscow or St. Petersburg. So, do you see anything similar happening in Qatar? How is your capital developing? Do you have the same phenomenon when the young people are trying to get to big cities, and they leave small towns and cities and villages? And for example, in our country, it's Moscow, St. Petersburg, and then all other regions falling behind. And there aren't enough people in the regions to develop. So that we have to admit that Qatar is a little bit smaller than Russia, but otherwise the question certainly is very relevant. Yes, right. Okay. I wish we could all contribute. What? Yeah.
As you were saying, Qatar is very, very small compared to Russia, of course, in fact, tiny. But in our capital, that's where everything is, where the majority of the population is, of course. And besides the capital, we only have maybe 3 really other cities that are like far off from the capital. And most of the education comes from the capital, like of course the highest education, such as Qatar Foundation, was within the capital, but they do have branches in the other cities. And even so, the cities aren't very far from the capital. The furthest is probably 2-hour drive, because of course Qatar is very small. But we are able to. We have a lot of things that are provided in the other cities. Of course, we have hospitals, welfare, everything else. Every necessity is already there. It's already provided in the cities. But of course, the capital probably has all the luxury, maybe, so to say. But mostly, the capitals. I think the capitals, since it's very close, it's very connected to the others. Some people actually who live far off, like from a different city, just drive all the way to the capital to get their education, or just anything they need. So when it comes to tourists, however, they're probably always going to be in the capital.
Sorry, if I could just slightly add on to what you're saying. We have a developing project going on in Qatar. It's a new city close to the capital, a city of the future it is called. It's called a Lusail project, where we're developing new sectors and it's innovating quickly, residential, commercial, medical, medicines. We have everything there. It is meant to be the city of the future. It's the 20-minute drive from the center of the capital, but it's still a new place where people are able to explore new ideas, new businesses, entrepreneurship is able to grow. It's also going to be, if anyone's going to the World Cup in 2022, as a big thing with more accommodations like in hotels, and it's going to be having the main stadium where the finals are going to be played. So in Qatar, we're a very fast developing nation, and we're developing new projects every other week. So one day we might not. 10 years ago, we only had one city, a few roads, etc. Now we have crossed all the bridges and ticked all the check boxes in terms of innovation.
I can follow up because I have studied Qatar. There is another. Because if you, for example, in Africa, if you commit yourself to develop education in Africa, right, and the problem is just create opportunities, conditions for African kids, and so they don't have to come to Qatar, for example, but they will be getting good education where they live, right? And so they invest their hearts and souls and money into it. So the problem of spatial equality is very important, and your country is taking it very seriously, spatial education. And I was participated in one of the educational congresses, and they spoke at length about this education projects, because certainly the spatial differences exist. I mean, from the viewpoint of access to education. So, may I sum up a little bit? So we are ready to address global problems, not only in the area of education but ecology, etc. And we need to think about our individual goals. Individual goals are very important. First, my personal goal would be just to help people live happy, long lives with the help of genetics and with the help of medicine. And then I want this to get your thinking about that. So what are your personal goals for the future? We know that what the society needs. What would you define as your personal goals?
So one thing I would like to say before I just get into my personal goals, before the pandemic, I know I don't want to mention the pandemic a lot, but I have to. Before the pandemic, I had a different view. I had a different view on what my goals were and what I wanted to do. But when you experience something as hard as a global pandemic, going through many mental problems, something no one has mentioned, which I am surprised, how affected the teenagers were mentally, and how it was a struggle for probably all of us trying to survive this online life. Okay, back to the... So one thing I'd like to say is your goal. My goal is to just continue school. I'm not focusing, when you're talking about this, right now, when I'm focusing, I just see what I'm going through now. What I want to do now. I'm not really thinking, what do I want to do in the future? Will this suit me in the future or not? Am I sure? Do we even know what our future is? It's never planned, We don't know what it is. We don't know what can come. We don't know what challenges we can face in the future. So when you're asking me what are your goals for the future, it's a difficult question to answer. A lot of people don't realize that, but when you're trying to think about a goal, and now we're in a pandemic, so my goal right now is for now. What I want to do is I want to graduate school and get into uni. And I don't know if maybe I don't get into uni. Maybe there's another pandemic that comes. They close the universities. We don't know what our challenges are. So when we set a goal, what I like to do is what I see myself doing in the future. Where do I find myself? What things suit me now that I think I'll carry on with me all the way till I graduate, till I get to work, That's one thing I want to say. Thank you.
Так какая профессия-то?
But what your but who is going to determine what future will look like? Who?
Time. I guess when you're going through something time with time, you get to realize who you are as a person, what you're facing and what you're going through. You understand how strong you are and what you're capable of doing. So, yeah.
And to add on to what you think, I think I definitely agree because no one expected this pandemic, right? So many things have been put to a halt. Businesses have gone bankrupt, I guess. They've stopped running. Things changed. The world changed. So you can't really expect anything now. When we thought that life was normal, we could just make predictions for the future and hope for the best. But for now, things have changed, and we see that things can be unexpected, and things can change the whole world, not just you. So, really, I think that what you're saying is true. I think that time is really our best tool to see what's happening in the future, to see what's in store for us in the future. Thank you.
Okay, one more thing.
Okay, so I'm gonna be a bit quick. I'm gonna go to your point when you say we have to really consider the spatial differences in terms of education, and then someone said of regional opportunities and all that, and then the debate was based on Qatar and Russia. But what I just wanted to pitch in, I wanted to say that I don't think as young people we should be looking at ourselves and say that because I'm in Russia and Qatar is better, Qatar students are better than me or whatsoever. I think, okay, there's difference, and of course, there are different developments, but let us not focus on that. You can achieve whatever you want to achieve wherever you are. You were talking about Africa and the different environments. I'm from Africa, and I'm in a panel with some, kids from Qatar. So it doesn't not matter where you're coming from. What matters is your commitment and your determination. We were talking about our gadgets that we have every day. Utilize them for your opportunities. And then let me just pitch in on for my other colleagues when they were saying you can't predict the future. Okay, to some point, yes, you can't. But he was just talking about the future challenges. He even mentioned climate change. we have this information. So I don't think it will be very proper for us to say that we don't know what is coming. Yes, we don't know, but we can be able to prepare ourselves for what is coming. For example, you are still in school and you want to graduate after your university, right? And you're not sure if you're going to get employment. What do you do if you're not sure if you're going to get employment? You could come up with a project while you're still in the university so that by the time you don't get employment, you could push like a business idea that you have thought of while you're in university. So the best part of everything here is that, okay, we do not know the future, but what if, preparation on time is very important. So if you live your life just because, freely and not planning your things, it's going to be very dangerous because if you don't graduate, you're just going to stay home. You get it? So you have to have options, plan A, plan B. If plan A and B doesn't work for me, plan C will make me survive. That's how I do my life. Thank you.
Чуть-чуть еще вернуться.
And can I just go back to this issue? And that's a very important challenge that we identified. Unfortunately, we cannot talk about digitalization, and some people have no access, some children have no access to water. It's not because they are poorly educated, but territorially they are located in the places where there are no opportunities. And so how can we provide opportunities to them in the places where there are no opportunities, where they have to live? And certainly for many people, happiness is not in their career, not in their money, but in the desire to help, support other people, to help other nations, other peoples. This is true. For them, it's a driving force in life. And it's very nice to see, to notice that in our country in recent years, we can see this great deal of encouragement of such people, volunteer organizations, when they promoting this. So then ecology, it's true of ecology, it's true of territorial inequality or spatial inequality. And so this desire of people to help each other is very important. And the only way to address this challenge to take care of this issue is to develop a system of encouragement of such people who are not after money but who want to help each other. We need to develop them, to promote them with the help of international organizations. Because the main goal that everyone should be striving for is to make each other's lives better, and then eventually you will see that so everyone has the same kind of opportunities irrespective of where one lives. And it's very nice to know that this work is going on. And I really want to believe and trust that we're going just to make further steps towards the creation of such a voluntary companies. And I wish that this system of encouragement would develop as well. It's not because it's just encouragement, not necessarily monetary, but an encouragement. Yes, just a second. So for example, that people could just move around freely in a country where you arrived with a voluntary purpose, such as so for example, just to get some food for free, right? So to help to encourage people just to organize comfortable presence of volunteers in other countries, a different level of income, etc. That would be great to encourage that. So something that will help you to do well what you are doing. That's it. Yeah, and that's something that you think is right. And because unfortunately this issue is very difficult to address, by the way, although it sounds simple.
Both of your points. So some people do not look for anything materialistic, etc. They do it out of the kindness of the heart. Some people just want to help others. And plan A, B, C, and D. Of course, everyone must have certain plans and backups. However, the way I think we should do it is by setting up a criteria and a checklist for what you want to do, how you want to achieve it. So if you'd like to help somebody, and then you'd like to do something else, if you would like to provide for your family, help your community, and help the international stage, you should put these things into a checklist and then develop plans around them. Because as Mariam said before, we never know what time can do to us. And having certain goals and principles and applying them to different plans is what will make us successful and allow us to continue and grow in life. So I just want to add that.
Мы будем завершаться.
Okay, now I think that we'll be wrapping up, right? Because we are running out of time. So there is time is always short. So the main item of shortage is time. Yeah. Okay. And if I may, so one last point I want to make, because we need just to wrap up and recap. Guys, no one will shape future for you, and no one will define it but you, because you need to imagine it. You have to have a vision. A certain future will come, but if you give if you leave it to chance, then this future will not be the future that you want to see. That's why the earlier you commit yourself to shape this future, the earlier you start thinking in which way and form you want this future to be, the easier the more chances are that the future will be exactly like that. Certainly not necessarily, because everything, certainly much is left to chance and contingent nature of life, but you need to, and I'd like to wish you to think not about the process, but about the result that you want to attain, not necessarily for yourself, but for the country, for the world, because you are young and the whole world is at your feet. And what is it that you can do to achieve that? Because everyone can contribute, and quite a lot, and this is it.
I agree with you, and I agree that we should focus locally. We start with providing and helping the families, then the country, then the world stage, and that is what every young person should look for, is bettering their lives, others, and the world one day. And I would like to thank, since we're running out of time, thank everybody and for attending, and thank the organizers for arranging this and bringing us here to speak on these important issues. So, спасибо.
Okay, recapping our discussion, and I'd like to thank Andrei Alexandrovich and the Content Foundation for a chance to be here, discuss important things, because we the children are at such an important event. And this is very important that we were given the chance to be here, and I'd like to thank all present. And I want just to finish that with a phrase: yes, tough times will pass, but people will stay. And so this pandemic will make us stronger. I'm sure that in a year's time, we'll be meeting again, discussing things and making decisions that will certainly help to promote development of international cooperation. Thank you. Thank you.
Say thank you to everyone, and thank you for this amazing, wonderful conference and not making it online. That's one thing. And thank you to all of the panelists. You guys did amazing. Well done.
And I'd like to just add some final words. I want to thank all the panelists for being here and for being able to share their knowledge with us, because they certainly are very, very intelligent. And I want to just commend everyone for being able to have a project and come here, and because these projects are really initiatives that are for the future, and that will help develop our world, whether it's by a small amount or a big amount. So I just want to thank everyone for being here, and I just want to say thank you for having this conference too.
Everyone here was very inspiring, by the way.
Спасибо большое.
Thank you all.